And it's us and we're live. Hey, it's PopPop. It's Thursday night. That means I'm live in the LitRPG world. And tonight, PopPop has Lucent Steele.
Hello.
Author. First time interviewee, potentially. Author of the Ascension Framework series, which has 3 books out. He's working on a couple more, and the Triumvirate series, the first one of which is Cardinal Velocity. Totally different type of series. We'll talk about that. Lucent, welcome to PopPop's LitRPG world.
Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Is it cold up there in Michigan?
Oh, gosh, it's ridiculous. And it's actually, I think we're supposed to get Friday. I think the actual not the wind chill, the actual temperature is supposed to go down to -10.
Oh, good God, no. You know what the temperature was in Florida this afternoon? Gary, why don't you tell them what the temperature was your way this afternoon? Because it was about 70 here in mid-Florida.
Jeez.
It's quite disgusting, I know.
Oh, man.
So you are a first-time author in 2025, published.
I am.
Author. You've been working on things. So tell us why you've become an author now. What led you to this place?
It's interesting. I was in sales for basically my career, and I majored in like Japanese history and literature. So I got into the steel industry, so it totally makes sense, right?
It does,
and being from Detroit, I worked in the auto industry and the steel industry, and I about 8 years ago I started working on this concept to build a new steel mill here in Michigan. It was a seamless pipe mill. We were going to make stainless steel pipe. Actually, I actually have one. We're going to make these. This is heavy. Anyway, and I started working on the funding. It was a $1.5 billion project, and I could not get it done. I couldn't get it funded. I couldn't make it happen. And then at one point, I just decided to pull the plug on it because it had been so long that I was working on it. And I had been reading a lot of LitRPG. I got into the Primal Hunter and some other series. I actually got on the DCC train a little late, Dungeon Crawler Carl train, like kind of later than everybody else, it feels like. But I really got into the genre, and I kept thinking like the system keeps getting like pushed on the planet from outside all the time, and it would be fun to come up with a concept where humanity is the one that develops it and deploys it here on the planet to help humanity instead of as a post-apocalyptic type thing. So the tone of the series is a little more like hopeful than apocalyptic, I guess. The other series is not so much. The other series can get pretty dark, but anyway, I started writing on April 5th last year, and I published The System Rises on June 2nd.
I was not that far. I bought it in August. So that was pretty good shortly after we came back from.
Yeah, we connected on Facebook pretty fast after I got in there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We connected real fast on that. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it is more positive than you would find in a post-apoc or an apocalyptic type or a lot of different ascension types. The billionaire puts all of the billionaires in the history of Earth to shame. Maybe not Carnegie, but maybe
he donates all of it,
every last bit, and he sets everything up with all the myriad of shell companies, or not shells, but all the different subs and whatnot. It's a pretty cool system. I really like the fact that it is a positive ascension. That the way you handled the implementation of everything, you stuck with, and I don't like to do a lot of giveaway because Jay Krause will yell at me eventually that I'm like divulging everything. But speaking of Jay Krause, everybody here, look, it's Hannah. Okay, praise be to Hannah. Go tell Jay and go tell Hannah that I'm advertising for him free of charge. So awesome. Yeah, that's probably hopefully one of the first Hannah appearances on YouTube. So you picked the lead characters, so to speak, that you brought into the system, into the virtual world. I liked how everything was blended between real world and the virtual world.
Yeah, I tried to. Sorry, go ahead.
And you actually gave it street cred. You had to do things in the virtual world to move the ascension process forward in the real world. And that was a real keen invention. I like that device.
To kind of tie them together more.
Correct. Yeah. That was really cool.
Yeah. Book two develops that concept a lot more too. So I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts when you get through book two. I know you got a lot on your plate. But yeah, I tried to keep the tone positive in a way. That doesn't mean humans aren't still assholes. So there's still some bad people in there.
They're there. We saw them.
Yeah, one of the comments I got on like Goodreads and Amazon on book one was that the story was really good, but I felt like nothing bad happened to all the characters in book. Like nothing much happened to the main characters in book one, and he said, so I'm only rating it like 3 stars. But I'm gonna read book 2, and then he came back after he read book 2 and changed it to 4 stars. So stuff happens in book 2, and in book 3, it's a lot of humanity doing its thing, like both good and bad. I had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun with this series. It's not always been as easy for me to write this series because I decided to try to make all the science like plausible science. So you have to you can't just go like hand wavy magic and have
no hand wavium.
No hand wavium. Exactly.
It's true that even though there wasn't a lot of bad action in terms of, there's no true overpowered evil in book 1. There is trauma that had to be overcome by the various characters, and you handled that well to see how they can integrate into their new skill or their new classes that they were assigned. So you did overcome trauma, and that was very important. And there were baddies that had to get taken care of, and let me tell you, your special forces kicked ass when they had to.
Yeah, so, I had fun with those guys, Grim and Brick. So
and I was hoping nothing would happen to them, and nothing did. So that was a very good thing. But at the very end, you do set up book 2 quite well. It's not like it's a Royal Road ending or cliffhanger, but it was enough to say, oops.
Yeah,
something's going to happen in book 2. And so I overall, I thought it was a really nice first book in a series that's going to go at least 4 books, you're telling me, and we'll see how it goes.
At least 4. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm about maybe not quite a third of the way through book 4 now. And sometimes these, I know you and Rec like to talk a lot about pantser versus planners. I'm kind of a, I think I'm more of a planner than a pantser, but I do when I get down to, sometimes I let the story tell itself, you know, when you start to get into it and you start to take a thread somewhere and realize that this thread has way like more legs than you thought it was going to. That happened in book 2. I was going to make it like this little, you know, maybe 1 or 2 chapter little side vignette type thing that ended up lasting like 4 or 5 chapters long, or maybe a little longer, because it kind of took off and made more sense to keep it going. So sometimes, but as I'm getting into book 4 and starting to see if this is going to be resolved in book 4 or not, it seems like it's probably not. So
fair enough.
So there's probably a book 5, yeah. And
it's not going to be like Primal Hunter going out to 13 books, is it?
It's not going to go. No, it'll be done in book 5. This series will be done in book 5. But if you look over here, these are all the books. And my father, who may or may not be on tonight, I can't tell who's watching, but my father was an engineer, and he instilled in me just enough OCD to want all my books to look about the same width on the shelf.
There you go.
So they are like within like 20 pages of each other.
Oh, geez,
like
that is
all of them. Even Cardinal Velocity, which isn't even part of the other series. I didn't even do that on purpose.
Dennis, I see you. Thanks for coming in tonight. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate everyone being here. If you go up on, and you can look at the comments, you can click on comments.
Oh, over here. Okay.
Click on that, and you can see not everybody, just the people who are actually saying things, like Justin and Gary and Dennis and Ruski. We have, and I don't know who else is here. Everyone else comment. We are going up against Jeff Hayes over on TikTok. You know, Sound Booth Theater decided to do their very, very first live event, 8:00 tonight. Thank you much. The internet might break.
They're trying to upstage us, man. We gotta.
What do you mean change to live chat? Who, me? Are you telling me to change to live chat? Oh, change to live chat. Okay. Why are you telling a boomer how to do things?
See, there's my family chiming in now. Hey, Dad.
Well, you know what, Justin, you're going to have to teach me how to do that. It says top chat, change it to live chat to see all comments. Yeah, I'm going to ban somebody and probably ban him. Hey, Dad. Good to see you.
He's the only one trying to help you make it better.
Who? Justin? Yeah, you know, if he keeps this up, I may not show the display tonight, you know. Oh, by the way, Justin, Lucent has seen the display.
I won't tell anybody.
I'm evil that way. But if you see, I have disc plates up here behind me. So that's going to be the thing that PopPop does.
I have the Maldives.
Have you gone to the Maldives?
I have not, but
it makes a good wall hanging, though.
It makes a good wall hanging, and it's like from here, I think it would probably take like 30 hours to travel there. I used to go to Japan all the time, but those were direct flights. Like once you're on there, you're stuck. You can't do anything. But flying to the Maldives just seems like a lot of work.
Oh, look, I can show the comments on the stage, and I can block him out.
Hey,
there's a lot of Haroons, and
there's a lot of Haroons here. My aunt, 2 of my aunts are here. My dad and everybody's here. Thanks, guys. Good to see you.
So you mentioned that Primal Hunter and DCC. You went, you know, I was really late. Now, believe it or not, I've only been in the genre since January 2025.
What did you find first? What was your first lit RPG?
Well, technically, even though it's not true lit RPG, the very first book I would have read would be Legends and Latte by
Travis Baldry.
I saw it on Barnes and Noble and picked it up just because the cover was really cool. But that was in 2024 or 2023 when I was still up in Jersey. But in January of 2025, I walked into Books A Million and saw the Ace hardback DCCs up on the top shelf. I'm like, ooh, look at those pretty colors. Tagged it, and then I went down a rabbit hole. I remember after reading, while I was reading DCC, I went in to my phone and said, Lit RPG.
What is this? Yeah.
Just,
so were you ever a gamer growing up or anything?
Very minimally back in like maybe 1980. I always liked D&D. Played it for a little while. I still have a monster manual with the Cthulhu mythos in them.
Oh, cool.
Got kicked out eventually because of, copyright, trademark, and all that shit. But I have one. So that's, I don't
Before
know.
they cut it off. It's a collector's edition now.
Correct, more or less. So, but then for like ever, I read science fiction, fantasy, and all that, but I just ignored any game system. I ignored Tracy Hickman. I ignored Salvatore. It's like, well, that's just really dumb. That, why would you want to do D&D system? Why would you want to do, Wizards of the Coast? Whatever. It was just dumb. While I was reading all my other, historical books, my history books, my English history, Byzantine history, Russian history, whatever, and then all my science fiction as well. And then DCC just knocked it down. Now, I'm not obsessive. Like there are a ton of obsessive DCC fanatics out there. I love me some, Matt Dinneman, because Matt Dinneman is awesome. I do love history. Matt Dinneman is cool. DCC is awesome. It's a good story. Actually, it depresses me because it's just going to be a horrible ending, most likely in my home. That's at least my thought process. That it is just no way it can be good for anybody. And I never talk about why I think that, because that's just depressing. But I found so much, and you found Primal Hunter. I read the first book of Primal Hunter. And then I have 7 bookshelves back here. I'm just lit RPG and progression fantasy glory. So other than those two, what else brought you to lit RPG and your ability to create within the genre?
I guess I did a little bit of Dungeons. I never had any friends that played Dungeons and Dragons, or that did like a party back then. So I never really, I was interested in it. I think I had some books, some manuals or something, but I never got a group together, so I never really played it. But I did play some like MMO games in the day, Lord of the Rings Online or Star Wars, the Old Republic. Of course, everyone played World of Warcraft. That has not everyone has, but everyone that knows about it.
Before the raids. Hated the raids. Once they started having 40-person raids on WoW, it's like, F that.
Yeah, I never was one of those people that would like stop my social life to go play games. That was kind of where I drew the line, I guess. There's a raid tonight. I can't go out. I never really did that, but we're raiding the whatever it was, the dragon kill points or whatever it was. Anyway, I didn't get that deep into it, but I enjoyed it. And so when I saw the Primal Hunter, and I don't remember, it was probably recommended to me on Amazon or something, or maybe someone told me about it. I can't remember. But when I saw the Primal Hunter, I was just really fascinated by the idea, just like you were with it. The concept of it is really cool. So I read some Sean, what is the Welcome to the Multiverse? Is that Sean?
The induction, induction. Sean Oswald.
Oswald, right? I always get them mixed up in Osgood and Oswald, but anyway. So I mean, I like that one. I like the one. I'm going to totally draw a blank now that we're live, of course. CK Sunrise. Have you read the CK Sunrise one? CK
Oh,
Sunrise.
CV Sunrise. No,
CV.
no, I know which one it is, but no, I have not read that one. I have it on my shelf. I have to. It's one of the ones I'll have to read.
That one's fun because it starts out with like it starts out with an It starts out with an overpowered main character who I'm not going to give anything away. You can read it on the back cover of the book, so I'm not going to give it away. But he ends up like in going into another universe and getting into like a different system. He was in one system on Earth, and he ends up in another system in this other world. But he starts at level 1, but he has all of his stats from before. So he's like he's got like 5,000 strength or what, I can't remember what the numbers are, but he starts out with like that at level 1. So he's just like plowing through everything, and like the main character's attitude is kind of fun. Like the character development was really good. I enjoyed that series, and I got through, I think the first maybe 7 books or something like that, and maybe the first 6 books, and I don't think I finished 7 yet. But these days I spend more time writing than I do reading, I guess. But I have to balance.
That is one of the bad things about having to write and having to create. Speaking of creating, you have a whole new series that you started despite not being done with the Ascension Framework. And that one, hurts my brain, truthfully. That's Cardinal Velocity, the Triumvirate series.
Yes.
Give me your 3-minute blurb on Triumvirate.
All right. So I had this idea that I love the concept of parallel universes to play with as a story trope, and I thought it would be fun to have like the same character in 3 different universes, and to tell and to have the system come and induct them into the system at the same time. So in one universe, the character's name is Brian Rossi. Rossi means like red in Italian. So he goes by the name Cardinal because it's funny. Because he's not a particularly religious man. But the red cardinal and stuff. So in one universe he is a Navy SEAL, a U.S. Navy SEAL. In another universe he is a major league pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. He's a lefty like me. And in the third universe he's like a cybersecurity genius in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I just came up with this concept and started thinking about them, the system preparing them for something. They had to get stronger in order to whatever. And we kind of get to it at the very end of book 1. And the series, I'm very excited about it because my daughter's here. Hey, Tasha. The idea is that it's gonna expand into this, like pretty quickly in book 2, expand into this huge multiversal conspiracy thing that they have to fight against. But I realized when I got like a couple of chapters into, maybe about 10 or 15 chapters into The System Rises, the original book 1 of the original series, I realized that I started writing this thing without a main character. It's like a whole huge cast of characters, like Game of Thrones or Wheel of Time. If only my book was so epic. But in this case, with this new series, I decided I was going to focus on like a main character and a sidekick. So that's what I did. So there's a lot fewer characters in this one than there are in the other one, and I'm having a total blast with it. When I sat down, I started coming up with the idea in the back of my mind as I was working on Daybreak Over Humanity, book 3 of the other series, and I just couldn't let it go. So I had to start writing it. And when I started writing it, I just basically like wrote the whole thing in like 10 weeks.
The series or the book?
No, the book. Book 1.
Okay.
I just wrote the whole. Yeah, no, I can't write that fast, but I guess maybe I could. I don't know. I never.
That's okay. Jay Krause would have written 4 books in 10 weeks. So
he's amazing. I wrote like 4,200 words today, and I thought that was a pretty good day. I think it's a pretty good day.
That'd be a pretty good half hour for him. We just love to pick on Jay Krause. Just
it's not really picking on him. You're talking about how great he is. I wish I could write that fast.
Is
he the one that writes like 1 million words a year or something?
Well, yeah, several people do it, but he wrote 1 million words in his first year. I think like 1.2 or so. Okay. He would
exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly, Gary.
He does write. He is a writing machine. But then again, we pick on Tommy Kerper, who's Sour Patch, because he doesn't write near as fast. So, but they're like best friends now, so it's okay.
I saw an interview with Brandon Sanderson where he said he writes about 2,000 to 2,500 words a day, and that seems like.
And then somehow he has 4.9 million books published. Okay.
Well, sold. Not.
Yeah. I was being facetious.
He didn't write 4.9 million books, but
I've never read a Brandon Sanderson. I probably never will. So
I think it's more straight fantasy than
it is grand fantasy. Yeah. But
I mean, I wonder the ones who write. So I've tried to keep my books grounded in the real world, like the System Rises, the Ascension Framework series takes place in this world, right? It's actually starts in 2025 and moves on from there. But I try to ground it in real places. One of my readers was one of my friends who was reading the System Rises sent me a text one day and said, "Hey, you had them go to this hotel. I actually looked up this hotel, and it's actually a real hotel." And I said, sometimes the drinks that they order at a restaurant are actually on the menu at those restaurants because I look up the menu online.
Oh, good Lord. That's anchoring in reality. However, I do have something I want to pick with you.
I'm ready.
There's a regressor.
What do you mean by that?
There is a regressor in book 1. Somebody plops down from a future. What the hell? That's what a regressor is. Someone who comes from the future to F around with the past or correct something in the past or do something in the past. Does that is that resolved in books 2 and 3 and 4? Or is it just some sort of tease? I'll find it. I'll track it down.
Do you remember the name or rough? Here we go. I'm trying to think of what you're talking about, but
I think it's in the very first freaking.
Oh, Kayla Sarova, right in the
in the Forest Clearing, 2163, 100 130 years in the future.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell?
Yeah, right.
Does that resolve?
Actually, in book 4, I'm beginning to write more of her story. So, I use her as the prologue of book 2. She sometimes it's been a while since you read the last book, so you want like a little what happened last season type recap.
Yeah.
So she provides that. She provides that mechanism in book 2 and 3 and 4 actually. But book 4 is going to jump forward into the future. So it's going to end up in her time. And it's going to tell, like, it's the second, half of the book, or maybe a little more, is going to tell Kayla's story from like a main character. She's going to become sort of like a main character at this point for the story.
Right. Going forward. I'll let you slide. I'll let you slide with that for now.
I'm sorry. I couldn't even. I was trying to think of somebody else in the story, and I was thinking, I didn't think I did that. But anyway, yes.
Wilkie, how many new followers did you get today? At least 4. I saw that much. So I gave a shout out to a new person over on TikTok who has been one of the most lit RPG pro people around. His name is Wilkie, or at least he goes by Wilkie. I think he goes by 3 or 4 different names. That's just to keep everyone off his tail, I think. But we'll go from there. He's really cool. He's starting to do his own videos on TikTok. He did one which I really chuckled about. He came up and did LitRPG After Dark, and he picked a book by the author Shinhofen. Shinhofen does really spicy things, and that was such a cool little take on that. But not everyone would understand it, but Wilkie does, because Wilkie's read everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was just like so much fun.
Speaking of read everything, I saw the show with you and Rec where you guys said you both read more than 50 books last year.
Yes, I think I read around 65.
65.
Yes.
Jeez, man. I was telling my dad about
how I'm going to do, because I'm just like, I'm stuck here. I'm reading this book by a guy named Justin Whitaker. It's like 620 pages long. I've got First Necromancer was huge. I'm getting all these chunky ass books that I have to read. It might really impinge upon
your numbers. It's going to lower your numbers for 26.
I do have some shorter ones coming up. So, but I like to really try to read at least something by the author before I sit down with them.
Sure.
Fortunately, I have a few that are completed, but I have a lot of new authors coming up that I just have not read yet. And I am looking forward to doing Cat Girls from Outer Space before I interview Edie Skye and Jacob Hollow.
Cat Girls from Outer Space.
Girls from Outer Space. The tagline is, "Do you want to make some kittens tonight?" Not sure how that's going to go over, so that's spicy. So we'll see how that goes.
I saw one on Amazon that was like, it was something like Trailer Park Goblin Girls or something like that.
I want that, but you know
what? It looks like fun, right? It
looks like fun. But what really ticks me off is there's another one. I think it's called Trailer Park Elves or something with a bunch of elves. They're not putting those onto paperbacks, and I'm not going to go and do those with ebooks because I want them on my shelf.
You want them on your shelf?
I want Trailer Park Elves or whatever. Everyone knows what that series is. Yes, Randall Tatum, Chonkers, and LitRPG. We know the theory behind that as well.
Yeah, right.
Joining us, by the way.
I think the reason. So I think there's a reason behind it too, is that the authors are trying to aim for a certain length audiobook. So I did the same thing.
Ebook. Well, ebook and audiobook. Certain hours.
Yeah.
Audio,
so the long books are great for Kindle Unlimited. Someone can, it's good for the author for Kindle Unlimited. Amazon pays per page read or whatever. But for audio, like I think they say basically like 100,000 words is like roughly 10 and a half hours.
No one will ever buy it
on audio.
Book.
Huh?
No one will ever buy a 10-hour book. They want to be invested for 15, 16, 17 hours of their lives.
No, you're wrong. It's the opposite. For people in LitRPG, for Audible listeners, audiobook listeners in LitRPG, the longer the book is, the better. So they pay one Audible credit or $15 or whatever it is. Yeah. To put on the author to push out a book again after 6 months. That's true. That's true too. But I mean, if you use one credit to get one book and the book is 8 hours long, or one credit to get a book and the book is 15 hours long or 16 hours long or whatever, then that's, you feel like you're getting more for your money. Oh, are we? Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Gary.
I don't speak English well.
Gary does, but don't mess up his gnocchi because, boy, will he get pissed off. He knows what I'm talking about.
Yoki.
So yeah, I don't. My ears don't work well when it comes to books. At least definitely on a first read. I have to be old school and read paperwork. What's he saying now? Good, you don't speak English. Good. What? Okay. I have to be really nice to Gary Bradley because
So are you a speed reader?
No.
Or are you okay?
No.
Do you think you're like a slow reader or a relatively fast reader?
Medium. If I get into it, I can read through. I do. There are a couple of times I recall finishing a book in a day. So just because it was raining and I was in Ocean City, Maryland, and I had nothing better to do.
Nothing else to do.
So you had to do it. I can finish a book, but then I get distracted, and it always seems like when I have 10% of the book left to go, the world comes down and just makes it impossible for me to finish that 100 pages. I mean, literally,
it's a conspiracy against letting you finish.
It is. I have 100 pages to go in Justin's book, and I haven't been able to finish it today. Big ass fight scene, and I can't just get through it. What the hell? Readings. I remember those, Gary. I remember that whole series. That whole PR gimmick in the 70s, I think it was, right? Reading is fun. Phonics is a good thing. I like phonics. I remember phonics from way back when. So what are you reading if you're reading anything right now?
I'll admit right now I'm reading books about how to become a better writer. I know it's boring. No, I really want to get back to Dungeon Crawler Carl. Honestly, I got to the beginning of the train one.
That's book 3
or 4. Yeah, 3. So I'm not far in. So, what was the favorite funny part of one of my books? You mean, or are
I don't
you
think
talking
he has any funny. I don't think he has any funny parts in his book.
Nah, come on. I don't know. I try to have some good dialogue. I try to have some fun dialogue when I can. It's it's the best way to so since some of my family's on here, when I finish my books, I actually do a search and count how many F-bombs are in there. So I was pretty happy that for book 1, 2, and 3, there was only like 240 or something like that total. And I think there's more than half of that in Cardinal Velocity, probably. But anyway,
Randall, I'm going to tell you, you're absolutely correct. There's no such thing as a fight scene that goes too long. Ultimate level 1 is really one big fight through dungeon after dungeon after dungeon after dungeon. And Sean handles it awesomely. So there is no such thing as a fight scene that goes too long. I will.
That's interesting. So it's something I feel like I need to get better at. I think I do okay, but it is hard as a writer. It's like hard to keep a fight going for too long, right? And I think one of my problems is I don't want my guys to get beat up too bad. So not my guys necessarily, the characters, but fight scenes are hard, right? Yeah. I mean, you kind of tend to want to coddle them, but at the same time, to make it interesting, you really need to let them get beat up. Like, obviously you don't want them to die, but you really need to. I really need to do a better job of letting them get beat up more, I think.
I mean, hopefully, it'll happen with there's nobody on Earth that can take on your people. Really, from what I can gather. So you're going to have some, extraterrestrial type invasion type things take them on. But I was really just amazed that UL1, Ultimate Level 1, is just dungeon after dungeon after dungeon. The Wraith Wizard Ascendant has a long ass battle scene that I'm still trying to get through. That is well worth it. It's dragged out, but it's not dragged out for no reason whatsoever. It has value. Mage Tank, the team in Mage Tank fights through a series of dungeons for a good 20 to 30% of the book. And it's awesome. So if you can gather up a fight scene that makes sense, then have it happen. Well, obviously don't kill off people unless you really don't like them. So
I mean, you don't have to kill them off, but you should let them get beat up, though. I think it's I think it's important.
It builds character.
It builds character, literally, right? It builds your character. I did a better job with it in book 3, and definitely in Cardinal Velocity. My people got a lot of bruises and nicks and cuts for sure. Some arms cut off.
Now, in Cardinal Velocity and in the Triumvirate, do you have to worry? And don't give too much away. Do you have to worry about them meeting each other and creating, time loop destruction and interdimensional, death rays and stuff where, you can't meet each other, you can't meet yourself, or doesn't that matter in your world?
They actually are supposed to merge at some point.
Yeah.
So, but you don't want them to do that too soon because they won't survive it if they're not strong enough. That's the idea.
Okay.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Beatdown training arc, epic comeback, beatdown, rinse and repeat. What are we, in a beauty salon or something? Who knows? What drew you to want to write in? Okay, there you go. There's Will.
There you go. That's a good question. Yeah, thank you. So I was I guess we were talking about this before we went live. I read all these LitRPG books where the the system comes from outside, and it's usually kind of like an invasion, kills a lot of humans when it comes here or whatever. People, if they're not strong enough, it's usually a pretty apocalyptic thing, which I know you love, PopPop, but
I do love me apocalypse.
Yeah, I know. They're good, but I thought it would be fun. Like as I kept reading them, I kept thinking about, what if humans develop the technology to make the system ourselves here on Earth, and to strengthen and bolster humanity to be stronger, instead of like the survival of the fittest type of kind of a thing. Let's make it more of a hopeful thing. So that's where I started to kind of, the more I thought about it, the more I couldn't let this idea go, and I started writing, and it's I wrote this many, so a couple.
So I do love the fact that it is a hopeful. It is, you're looking to improve, you're looking to cure, you're looking to extend the life of everyone, and they're not just going to pick and choose. They're trying to keep everything out of the hands of the oligarchs and the greedy bastards and whatnot. It is a positive. If it's going to become apocalyptic, at least at this point, it's a positive approach to getting to that framework. Similar, when I was going through it, it was similar to David Wilmarth's Shadow Sun series, where Earth gets moved. But it looks like it's magic, but it's not. It's just humongously advanced science, where the entire planet gets moved into a different side of the galaxy, into a funky solar system, and that was to basically save the planet from horrible radiation type event that would have destroyed life as we know it, which also happens in another recent book. I have to go and remember that one. So that is a hopeful, a positive apocalyptic story. So I do like that as well. And Wilkie comes up with another one. Who are my literary heroes? Do you have any literary heroes?
I was hoping you were going to keep talking so I could think of one, but I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden.
I don't
Lucent
understand.
Steele was not the name of my company, so it was called Nobilis Pipe, and Nobilis is Latin for noble. And I was trying to build a steel pipe mill, and our idea was that we were gonna run it on 100% renewable energy, run the whole plant on renewable energy, and have like a better than net zero carbon footprint for a steel mill, which is hard to do. But we couldn't get the funding for it. No, Lucent Steele. I just added an E on the end for steel because it looks cool. And Lucent just means brilliant, but actually if I didn't add the E on the end, there's actually a company, I think they make watches, like wristwatches, and they have a trademark on Lucent Steele without the E.
Oh, that would save you.
Favorite element of LitRPG. So I mean, I think obviously you could say the system, right? The system is kind of, I think you can't really have LitRPG without the system, I believe. But I think the whole concept is neat. And it's the idea that human beings can get stronger like that, can get strong enough to take on unbelievable things and stuff like that. That sort of trope, that sort of base concept appeals to me a lot. And I was telling PopPop earlier, I tend to write stories where there's a lot more science in the science fiction, because I want the science to be at least like plausible, I think that to me that was like important. So yeah, if you don't know about The System Rises yet, the first book in this original series, this billionaire comes up with these two serums. The first one, Vitalix, will it's like a 5-hour energy drink, and you just drink it, but it has like no taste though, because 5-hour energy drinks are notoriously not good tasting. But anyway, you take it and it cures your body of all disease and illnesses, and then over a couple of days, and then it also corrects any genetic exactly, laying pipe to laying words. It corrects any genetic deficiencies and everything in your DNA. And then the second the second serum, Rejuvenex, once your perfect health is locked in, you take Rejuvenex, and Rejuvenex regresses your age to about 35. So like
I'll take that.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could. So you end up, so everybody ends up in like perfect health at around the age 35. The younger people that are younger than 35 will age up to 35 and stop there. And then they deploy they basically hid the mechanism for the system inside these serums without telling anybody. So the Earth, everybody on Earth drinks them, and then they end up getting inducted into the system without realizing that that's what they signed up, because they didn't actually sign up for it. But anyway, it's
all right. So I'm going to do my obviously Apocalypse is one of my favorite tropes, but I really, really, really like where the MC has a nifty, keen relationship with their AI companion or their companion, like SJ and Dave in Boslow's.
Like with the system itself, you mean?
Well, not necessarily with the system itself, but with the representative of a system. Because Dave in Boslow's books, Dave is not the system. In fact, he's on the outs with the system. So that snarky system character, the system companion. I really, really enjoy that type of thing. That'll be coming up in the next hour as well. But give me an apocalypse and any sort of basis for an apocalypse, and I'm there. So
why does that appeal to you so much? Do you know why?
Challenge, fresh start, if you can, and there's just so many different ways you can do it. There is a major difference between Rise of Mankind by Jez Kajayo and what I saw in First Necromancer by Cold Fang. In his first book, it was an emphasis on the first week or two coming into a system, so you have some time, and then go into Grand System Vending by Ryan Maxwell, which is probably a different type of thing.
That looks funny. That one, is that it's a comedy? I assume.
There's comedic overtones, but it's a good team-based apocalypse. So there's just so many different things you can do within that subset of the genre that I just like it. It's just cool. And then you got Tao Wong's System Apocalypse, which is more like what you're thinking, where a shit ton of aliens come in and do horrible things to human beings. So it is just good to have. Jay Wilkie comes up. If you could co-write with any other LitRPG author, who would you co-write with?
Oh man,
you have a few minutes because I have to.
Yeah, I know you got to go. There's so many, but
I get ready for my next one.
I watched your interview with Joe Dan. Was it last week?
Last week,
and he is an amazing person.
I agree,
and I would love to. I don't know a lot of authors like personally, I guess. So
that means you need to go to LitRPG Con.
I need to go to LitRPG Con. I think I probably do. I'll wear my T-shirt, Lucent Steele.
There you go.
But I think it's about the character, the character of the author. The person, the personality of the author, and you have to be able to get along with them. He just seems like. He seems like the kind of characters that he writes would get along with some of the characters that I write. So it seems like it would be fun, to write something together where you have. But it's funny, talk about collaborating with authors like that. There's a lot of ways to do it. Sometimes people do it remotely where they write, they write the premise together and then they sort of swap chapters or something. I don't know how the actual mechanics of it would work.
Creation hurts my brain.
I know, exactly. It would be like but I did have this idea before we go. I had like one too many margaritas one night, and I was thinking about ideas for a new series that I write when I'm drunk. So I feel like I want to tell you what I came up with for the story, but I'm not sure if it's ready for prime time yet, but we'll see.
We'll do that on a separate one, and we'll see if we can put it up someplace. But but now, what do we call you going forward?
Lucent Steele.
Okay, fine.
You can call me Brian. My name is Brian, but
yes. But professionally, you're gonna always be Lucent Steele still.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I did that. I just when I first did it, when I first started writing System Rises, I was still trying to get a huge steel mill funded. I was talking to private investors and family offices and that kind of stuff. And I didn't really want my own name associated with it, just in case it derailed this. They're like, why are you're writing fiction and you want to, like, I think you're trying to do too much or something. But after that happened, sometimes I have regrets that I didn't use my name, but I think Lucent Steele is kind of a cool name.
It's a cool name.
I don't regret it.
It's what got me to the series. So it is an excellent pen name.
But I don't mind being outed as Brian Haroon either.
Well, you outed yourself in December, so what the hell?
Yeah.
You did that yourself. thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for doing this.
You will get some good press out of this, despite Jeff Hayes over there doing a multitude of voices on it and whatnot.
We won't hold it against him.
We won't hold it. No, we can't hold it against him. He's all powerful. And he'll scream in a prepotente voice, and it'll be just horrible.
That's right.
I have to go get ready for my second interview tonight. That is going to be with Justin Whitaker, author of Wraith Wizard Ascendant, which I have been unable to finish, but everyone should go out and buy because it is a phenomenal premiere first book, and he is a great promoter, and we're going to go talk about that. Guys, give me 5 minutes. Come back for Justin, Lucent / Brian. Keep in touch.
Thank you so much. It was good to meet you finally.
Yes, I love meeting people for the first time at the time of the interview. It's the coolest thing in the world. And I get to say, I'm gonna screw this up. So don't worry. PopPop out and
PopPop out. Lucent Steele out.
There you go.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys. I'll be right back.